journey. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Walking the Path. I'm really glad to be here today. I'm super glad to be here today because it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day here at Rhythmia. I want to start this, as always, with a little prayer. It's a good time to pray. I need to pray today. Do you guys need to pray? I need to pray. Would you like a prayer? Let's just jump into prayer really quickly to affirm. We just jump into this place of gratitude. If you can close your eyes and begin to sense the presence. Begin to sense that there's something more than the five senses can tell us. We turn away from this world of busyness and doing and spending and getting and all that late and soon, and we turn into this vast interior world, the world behind our closed eyes. And we begin to sense the presence. And we start with gratitude. I'm so grateful for this day, to be alive today, for no matter what's going on in life. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have another day. I'm grateful for another opportunity. And remember, I'm grateful to know that a bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul, as my teacher, Reverend Michael Beckwith, reminds me. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for our teachers. I'm grateful for the teachings. I'm grateful for this place called Rhythmia, where transformation is happening every day. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this Facebook Live, Instagram Live, what's YouTube Live, all the lives. I'm grateful to be live. Oh, I'm grateful for all the blessings that have come into my life. Are you grateful for all the times you've had a blessing? All the times something happened that went your way? All the times something went right in your life? I'm grateful. And I'm grateful in advance for all the blessings yet to come. So as we stand in this place of gratitude, I recognize that it's all happening within the consciousness of God. It's all happening within the consciousness of the divine. This one source, this one power, this one life, my life, your life, our life, the life that we live is the life of God. It is the life of life. Life is living us. This thing within us, this force, this energy of life, this energy of consciousness. I recognize that God is within me and it's within you and it's all around us. So we're in the consciousness of infinite intelligence. We're in the consciousness of God. We're in the consciousness of the divine mind. And from this realization, then I don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about anything. Everything is unfolding in divine perfection. Everything is unfolding towards harmony, towards balance, towards peace, towards abundance, towards prosperity. I'm not getting caught up in appearances, for I know that everything is tending towards synchronization and harmonization. And so as I allow it, we allow it right now. We allow that energy, that force, that life force that's in us, that's always wanting harmony, that's always wanting synchronization. We just surrender to it and allow it to carry us. We don't have to do anything. We just have to be open. We just have to be available. We just have to be surrendered. We just have to be trusting and allow this infinite intelligence to organize situations and circumstances in ways that we couldn't even imagine. Oh, I'm so grateful to know that God is on the field, that intelligence is on the field, and I don't have to do anything. I just have to be open. And so right now, I'm open. Right now, we're available. Right now, we say yes. Yes to a great Facebook Live. Yes to some information coming through that's going to shift something for me and shift something for you, because it's a direct broadcast from the mind to the infinite. From my mind to the infinite to your mind to the infinite, it's all one. It's all happening now. And I'm grateful. And so it is. All right. Hey, everybody. The power is my breath. It's my life. Yes, Amy. Woohoo. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. How are you guys doing over here? Diego, Candace, Cindy, Morgan. I love you, sister. Wait, Casey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. So grateful you guys are here. All right. I want to talk to you about what's on my mind today. Why do bad things happen? I had a client call me on Sunday, and he said, he's just trying to square up. He's like, how do I square up? How do I square up this idea, right, that everything's unfolding in divine perfection, that God is all there is, with all the bad stuff that's happening in the world? There's the war, there's child sex trafficking, there's, all these things that are happening. How does God let stuff like this happen? How can God let something like this happen? That's a very common question. If God is really all there is, and God is all powerful, then why are these bad things happening? Why doesn't God just, make everything great? Well, I've been thinking about that question, and let me share with you where I'm coming from on it. First of all, you know, it's like basically the question is, why is there evil in the world? If God is all there is, why is there evil? So let me tell you this. There really is only God. Quantum physics, I love to rely on science. Quantum physics tells us that that there is no absolute zero in terms of temperature. So quantum physics says that you can never get to absolute zero. Why is that important to this conversation? Because I know that there's something good in the world, and I know that there's something evil, right? We can tell that's good, that's evil. I know that there's something hot. I can touch a stove, that's hot. And I can put my hand in an ice bath, that's cold. There's hot and cold. There's good, there's evil. I know there's light and there's dark. So there's this duality in the world, right? Quantum physics tells us that there really isn't hot and cold, that there's just an expression of heat. How does that make sense? Well, because on the quantum level, we can never get to absolute zero. In other words, no matter how cold I make something, if I get it to minus 500 degrees Celsius, there's still a quantum filament, a quantum movement. There's still some sort of movement of energy, of heat in that ice. Even if it's so cold that it almost looks like a straight line, there's still a quantum filament. There's still a vibration there. And it never, ever goes away. No matter how cold it gets, there's still some heat in there. So according to quantum physics, there's hot and cold, but hot and cold are just an expression of more or less heat. It's an expression of heat. There's not a thing that's cold and a thing that's hot. There's just heat, and it's all an expression of more or less heat. So let's take that and bring that into the awareness of good or evil, or light and dark. So there's really no darkness. There's just an expression of less light. There's really no evil. There's just an expression of less good. So there is only one thing happening right now. And even in the darkest thing, there's some good. And so that's the first point, right? That we can never get to absolute zero. But there is this thing called free will. There's this thing called free will, which means this is how I know the universe is loving. I know the universe is loving because I was given and you were given this gift of life with no condition. That's called unconditional love. I was given this gift of life and I can do anything I want with it. I could be a murderer or a thief, or I could be a spiritual practitioner or Mother Teresa or, whatever. I could be anything I wanted to be. I get to choose where I want to resonate on that spectrum of light and dark. Do I want to hang out more in the light, or do I want to hang out more in the dark? It's all God. God is all there is. And then we come into this field. We come into this field and we get to choose where on the spectrum we want to vibrate. So the next thing I'll say is God isn't doing these things. God isn't letting things happen. God created this infinite field of consciousness in which we are participating, and we get to choose. So it's not God making these things happen. That's humans. That's human stuff. And we blame God for the human stuff. There's, we were made in the image and likeness of God. Reverend Michael has a saying, I'll quote my teacher a lot. He has a saying that says, we're created in the image and likeness of God, and we've been trying to return the favor ever since. In other words, we're putting all this human stuff on God. Well, no, that's not God. God's just love. God's just light. It's all God. We get to choose. Oh, I'm going to choose to participate in less light. That's my choice, or your choice, or whoever's choice it is. So there's this spectrum. There's this octave, these octaves, these registers of life. Where do you want to participate? You're choosing to participate in watching something, hopefully, that's uplifting. You're choosing to work on yourself, to explore your blind spots so that you can be a beneficial presence on the planet. You're choosing to tend towards opening up to more light, more or less light, more or less heat. It's all an expression of God. Just how much or how little of that do you want to express? That's the next point. Now, are there these evil things in the world? Well, I would say we see a lot in ceremony here at Rhythmia. We see a lot in ceremony where people feel like there's an entity, like they have something that's glommed onto them. And I say there are entities that glom onto us, but they're not good or evil. They're actually our own thought forms. Our thinking, what we think about, what we believe, actually we give life to. So the things that are bad that are happening in the world are really an expression of our own fear, doubt, worry, lack, limitation, not enoughness. It's an expression. Those demons that are out there chasing us, we created them. I had a vision one time in ceremony. I was sitting in the center of this space, right? And there was this like mist, circle of mist all around me. It was open at the top and open at the bottom, but around me was this circle of dark mist. And there are all these like evil, weird entities like emerging and falling back into the smoke all around me. And on the other side of that, I knew was the light and the love of God. And I thought in that moment, it was like, I'm okay. Even though there's all this dark stuff around me, I know that the light of God is beyond that. And then I thought, do I want to just know that the love and light of God is beyond that? Or do I want to just be overcome by the light and love of God? Do I want to be just infused with it, to have an ecstatic experience of it on my own? I'd prefer the latter. And then I realized that mist of dark, evil, weird stuff, that was my own projection. I was feeding that field of darkness with my own fear, my own doubt, my own lack, my own limitation, my own sense of not enoughness, right? So those thought forms, those evil entities are really a projection of our own sense of lack and separation. And it's just a sense of separation, just like in my vision. I'm never separate from the love of God, but I put up this field of insecurity around me that is a sense of separation. And so the next thing I want to tell you about this is that we are creating this. This reminds me again of my teacher, Reverend Michael, and teachings at Agape, where we're taught of the 4 windows of manifestation. Why do things manifest in life? First window of manifestation is we manifest our own fears, and we call that the Job effect. And that's like Job manifested his worst fears. So sometimes we just focus on what we're afraid of, what we're worried about. We put so much energy on that, we actually manifest what we don't want to happen, right? So that's the first window of manifestation. Second window of manifestation is a lesson. Sometimes we put ourselves in situations where we're forcing ourselves to grow. Something happens and actually that becomes a lesson for us. And that's a wonderful saying from Agape and Michael Beckwith is a bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul, right? Something's happening. It might appear bad, but it's actually a lesson for me to learn and grow. Second window of manifestation. Third window of manifestation is a blessing. And you can look in your own life and see the hardest times, the most difficult things in your life have always been like, oh, it's so challenging. I would never want to go through that. But on the other side, there's a pearl of wisdom. There's a blessing in it. There's an old story about a farmer. I'm sure you've heard of it, so I'll say it quickly. But there's a farmer and he has a horse and his neighbor comes by and says, hey, you're so lucky you have a horse. That's really lucky. And the farmer says, perhaps. And then the next day the horse runs away and the neighbor comes by and says, oh man, you're really unlucky. That sucks. The horse ran away and the farmer says, well, perhaps. And then the next day the horse comes back with 5 other horses. Now there's 6 horses. Neighbor comes by like, you're the richest dude in town. You got 6 horses. The horse ran away and then he brought these wild horses back. You are so lucky. Farmer says, perhaps, because then the next day his son's breaking in the horses and he gets bucked off and he breaks his leg. Looky-loo neighbor comes by. Oh, you're so unlucky. Man, that's a stroke of bad luck. Farmer says, perhaps, because the next day the military comes and conscripts all of the able-bodied men, but his son didn't have to go because he had broken his leg. Neighbor comes by, you're so lucky. What a stroke of luck. The guy says, perhaps. We don't know. A blessing can emerge. It might appear bad, but later it's a blessing. I broke my leg, but I didn't have to go to war, right? We don't know how things are happening, so don't get caught up in appearances. It's another big part of the realization of what's going on in the world. Don't get caught up in appearances. Things are not what they appear to be. Perhaps. Okay, so there's these 4 windows of manifestation, and the 4th window of manifestation is race consciousness. That just like me sitting in that vision where I was surrounded by a mist of darkness of my own creation, we as a collective consciousness manifest our worst fears. COVID, Hitler, war, famine, right? These are manifestations of our own doubt. It's like a larger scale of that own demon that I was manifesting. And guess what? Those things have no power in and of themselves. There's only one power. And those other entities have no power except the power that we give them. It's like the old myth of the sirens in Greek mythology. Remember the sirens? They were mermaids that called the sailors off course and caused them to crash their ships on the shores and drown in the sea. And the myth said that if any man could hear the call of the siren and not get caught by it, the sirens would lose their power. We've got a bunch of sirens in our life. Right? And what did Ulysses do? If you remember the story of Ulysses, he tied himself to the mast of his ship. He had to get through the Strait of the Sirens. He wanted to go home after the Trojan War. So he ties himself to the mast of the ship. He tells his men to put wax in his ear so that they don't hear the sirens because Ulysses wants to hear them. They get to the other side, the sirens lose their power. How many of us have our own personal sirens that call us off course? How many of us as a collective manifest our own personal, our own collective societal sirens that call us off course and cause us to crash our ship, our personal ship or our community ship on the rocky shores of fear, doubt, lack, limitation, not enoughness, and all of that crap. Okay, so 4 windows of manifestation. Why do bad things happen? They manifest in life because of our own, sometimes because of our own fears, right? And remember, there's only one power. Good and evil, light and dark, hot and cold are just an expression of more or less good, more or less light, more or less heat. One thing being expressed more or less of the one thing. Now, I want to tell you something else. Let's see here. So here we are, and great. Those things are all great, John, but what does it have to do with me having to square up all the crap that's going on in the world and you telling me that all there is God? Because I just see like war crimes and infant mortality and rape and child sex trafficking and abuse and homelessness and mental illness. And where's God in all that? Okay, so I love to connect science with spirituality. So there is an equation called the Kurimoto equation of harmonization and synchronization in biological and physical systems. Bam, the Kurimoto equation. It's an undergraduate physics experiment, and it shows that all biological systems and all physical systems seek homeostasis. They seek synchronization and harmony. Everything is seeking harmony. Everything is seeking balance. So if it's out of balance, it's seeking balance. Right now, you see increased hurricanes coming up, higher powered hurricanes and different weather patterns, and things are changing. Oh my God, that's so bad, right? Yes, we're affecting the climate. But guess what? That's an expression of a system that's out of balance, seeking to come into balance. The earth is this biological system, a physical system, and it's too hot at the equator. So it's creating bigger storms to move the heat up from the equator into the cooler regions. That is actually a system seeking harmony. How are we going to see it? Whatever we see, don't get caught up in appearances. Things are not what they appear to be. Perhaps it's good. Perhaps it's bad. Perhaps everything is tending towards harmony. Everything is tending towards balance. Everything is tending towards order, right? So don't get caught up in appearances. So no matter how bad it looks, we're not getting caught up in appearances because that's the world of change. That's the world of effects. That's the world of coming and going and getting and spending and late and soon. And that energy, that universal energy that's never destroyed, never created, never born, never died, that is the energy of the first law of thermodynamics that's neither created nor destroyed, but transferred or conveyed into various forms. But guess what? That's a changing world. And if it's changing, it's not true. What's true is real. What's true is enduring. What's true is unchanging. The truth is always the truth. The truth doesn't change. The truth is always the truth. So if the truth is that there's one source, one power, and it's always tending towards order, always tending towards balance. All systems seek order, harmony, and balance. Then no matter what disharmony I'm seeing on the planet, you and I are going to hold the consciousness that we know that that's a biological or physical system that's seeking synchronization and harmony. So I know, for example, that confusion is always the precursor to clarity, that fear is always the precursor to courage, that that disharmony is always the precursor to harmony. It's all seeking to emerge, and it's all happening now. How do I know that? Here's a great example from my good friend Panache Desai. He shared with me one day, you're on the ground floor of a hurricane, and it's chaotic, and then and crazy, and not safe, and no safe harbor. And then you get in a plane, and you're looking down where the hurricane was, and you see the order, the grid of the streets, and the houses, and the trees, and the parks, and there's some order, right? So chaos when you're on the ground floor. You can start to see order from the airplane, and then you get on the space station, and from the space station you see the Earth. Oh my God, the orbital perspective, as my good friend Ron Garan calls it. And you see this beautiful planet spinning so peacefully, and the blue and the green and the white of the hurricane going around. It almost looks harmonious. It is harmonious. So from the space station, you see harmony. From the plane, you see order. From the ground, you see chaos. Chaos, order, harmony, all happening at the same time. Don't get caught up in appearances. It looks chaotic here, but at another order, from another perspective, there's harmony, there's peace. We got to hold that. This is our job as light workers and light warriors on the planet, as people who want to be a beneficial presence on the planet. We are there to hold the high watch, to hold the vision that we know that it looks disharmonious now, but harmony is seeking to emerge. So we have to remember that everything is tending towards order, harmony, and balance. So when we see these bad things on the planet, we don't wring our hands and go, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. We go into prayer. We go into a being consciousness that everything is tending towards harmony and order and balance. And it's from that place of being, that consciousness of awareness, that then inspired action falls out of it. Maybe you're a lawyer and you want to help with immigration issues. Maybe you're a doctor and you want to go work with Doctors Without Borders. Maybe you have a desire to become a politician all of a sudden and bring something new to this. There's a call to action. There's a inspired action that falls out of a way of being when I know that everything is seeking order, harmony, and balance. When I know that things are manifesting either because it's a worst fear, or because it's a lesson, or it's a blessing, or we're manifesting out of our race consciousness, and because I know that there are no power other than the one power, and anything other than that one power is a thought form or an entity that I am giving life to. So here's how I know that everything is working out. Here's how I know when I can say rock bottom, everything is unfolding in divine perfection. John, how can everything be folding in divine perfection when there's all this shit going on in the world? Because all systems tend towards order, balance, and harmony. It's a mathematical equation. I love that. How do I know that God is all there is? Because quantum physics shows us that there's no such thing as absolute zero, that cold is just an expression of less heat, man. So evil is just an expression of less good, and we're going to be the ones that bring more good into the world. Here's the other thing that I got to tell you. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope, because it only takes a small number of people to change the whole consciousness. Have you ever heard of a story called it's a book called The 100th Monkey. Really cool study that was done, I think in the 50s or 60s, of these monkeys. These scientists were studying these monkeys on the uninhabited islands of Japan. And they'd go through and they'd throw out these sweet potatoes on the shore, and the monkeys would pick them up, and they'd be all sandy, and they'd eat the sweet potatoes. Well, one day, one monkey starts to wash her sweet potato. And then little by little, the monkeys in her little group start washing their sweet potatoes. And on that island, more and more monkeys start washing their sweet potatoes. And when the 100th monkey on the one island washed its sweet potato, all the monkeys on all the islands started washing their sweet potatoes. This is the way consciousness works. We're all connected. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we will not have peace on earth until we realize the interconnected nature of reality. We are all so connected. We are all part of that oneness, that one source. And when we choose to lift our vibration, As we rise, we call all things unto us. That is a statement by Jesus the Christ, who is speaking the truth. As one rises, we all rise together. So don't lose faith. Don't think me picking up that piece of plastic on the beach isn't going to do anything, because every little bit that we do adds and increases the consciousness. It multiplies and expands the consciousness, right? And as we expand the consciousness, things shift. In Greg Braden's book, The Divine Matrix, he talks about this study that was done with meditators. They went into small communities, and it's like 8 to 9%. If you have less than 10% of a community meditating. So this is what they did. The study was, they sent meditators into these small communities, and they measured, murder, theft, domestic violence, rape, robbery, all these, crimes, all these crime statistics. So they'd send a group in to meditate for a week. And while they were meditating, all the crime statistics dropped. And then when they went to the next town, the other town that they left, the statistics raised, and the town they went to dropped. And they found that there was this ratio, 8%, if I'm remembering correctly, of what's required to shift the consciousness, the hundreds monkey consciousness, that all we need to do through one individual awakening at a time, through individual transformation, we create a world that works for the best and highest good of all. Through individual transformation, through you doing you working on you, you're giving the best gift to the universe ever, because you're shifting the consciousness moment by moment. Sorry. Okay, are we back live again? All right. Okay, cool. So, I don't know, what time is it? It's been a half hour. I think we're good. Am I missing anything? Let me check my notes. So, the last thing I want to share with you. Is the process. We were talking about the windows of manifestation. Well, here's the truth. Things move from the invisible to the visible, from the formless to the formed. Einstein helps us understand this with his special theory of relativity. E equals mc squared. I've talked about this a lot. Energy, equal sign, matter, m is the constant of time. I know nothing about the math. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a physicist. I like thinking about these concepts, but I don't know the math behind them. But here's what I do know. E means energy, and m means mass or matter, and energy equals matter. That's what Einstein's telling us. Energy equals matter. Matter, this thing right here, this couch, that plant, the window, it's slowed, stored energy. And matter sped up becomes energy. Energy slowed down becomes matter. From the formless to the formed, from the invisible to the visible. And we know that there's this thing called the toric field, the electromagnetic field that's around us. It's around the planet. Everything has an electromagnetic field. And this electromagnetic field circles like a donut. It's got a hole in the center and goes around us. And when we're vibrating at a level of fear, that field shrinks. When we're vibrating at a level of joy or gratitude, that field enlarges. So, you want to talk about personal manifestation in your life. You want to talk about changing the world. Change your mind. Change what you're thinking about. Change what you're saying to yourself about yourself. Use these concepts. I know everything is tending towards order, balance, and harmony. I know that all duality gets resolved into a singularity. I know that things manifest as a blessing or a lesson or through our race consciousness. What am I thinking? What am I manifesting? We got to watch our thoughts so that we're generating a larger field of joy, of love. And not only that, when we do that, we're influencing the whole field, but we're also recirculating that love and joy to ourselves. It's basically, we're reinforcing and we're recirculating. This is how we heal ourselves. When I'm sending out, I have clients that are going through cancer and going through physical maladies. We work, first of all, on our minds. That the body can heal itself, and we're sending out, I know that my body is a self-healing organism. We're sending that out into the field. You fix it in the field, and it moves from the invisible to the visible. This is how radical healing happens in it seems magical. It's a law. It's the law of manifestation. It's the way things move from the invisible to the visible. What are we thinking about in the energetic field? E equals MC squared. What are we thinking about in the energetic field? Are we managing that field so that the things that move from energy into matter are the things of benefit, the things that are there to increase and enlarge our lives? What are we thinking about? What are we saying to ourselves? How are we generating that field? Are we magnifying it? Are we amplifying it? And what are we magnifying and amplifying? Are we magnifying and amplifying fear? Or are we magnifying and amplifying joy, abundance, prosperity, health, vitality, excellence, creativity, beauty, peace? All right. I'm just so grateful for all your comments. Everyone, thank you so much. I'm looking here. I'm so grateful for all you folks showing up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to just give my great thanks and wish you a most magnificent day, that you have an ecstatic experience of your oneness with all of life in this moment, and that something shifts for you and shifts for me in such a powerful way that we never see life again the same. We see it with new eyes. Thank you so much. Peace and richest blessings. Much love. Thank you.